Dear children, now we will move on to the next topic, that is importance of statistics in economics. What is the role of statistics in economics? Now in the previous class we defined the statistics and two kinds of data, that is quantitative and qualitative data. Now we are going to we are going to learn about the role of statistics in economics, importance of statistics in economics. Now you can learn this importance of statistics in economics in various points. Now the first point is, statistics is an indispensable tool for economists to understand the economic problem. Now there are so many economic problems. For example, poverty. It is a very important economic problem that exists in our country, right? Lack of infrastructure facilities. That is another important economic problem that exists in our economy. So, how do the economists and the statisticians help the government to understand this problem? By collecting the data regarding the same. That is how they help the government to analyze, to study about the economic problem. Therefore, statistical data is an indispensable tool for understanding the economic problem. Now, the example which I have given you here is contribution of industrial sector to gross domestic product. Industrial sectors play a very important role for economic development. Their contribution to GDP is very, very important. Their contribution to GDP is very, very important. So, by collecting the data, the economists and statisticians will be able to know what is the performance level of industrial sector in different years. For example, 2-3 years a comparative study is being made. By collecting the data, statisticians and economists will be able to know what is the performance level of industrial sector, how much industrial sector has contributed to GDP. In some particular years, if the industrial sector has contributed more to GDP, government can realize what effective measure government has taken to improve that. If in certain years, if the industrial sector has shown poor performance, if the GDP level is less for industrial sector, that is a problem. By collecting the data, government will be able to know what happened, what will be the reason for the poor performance of the industrial sector in certain years. Therefore, for understanding the economic problem, statistical data is a very important tool. Now, second example, a study on human resources to find whether they are skilled or unskilled. Human resources means what? We are resources. Human beings are resources. There are people who are skilled and unskilled. A study about the human resource will help the government to know how many are skilled and unskilled people by collecting the data regarding the human resources. How many are employed or how many are unemployed, how many are skilled and how many are unskilled. If it is unskilled, it is an economic problem. So, by collecting the data, government will be able to know with the help of economists and statisticians. When the government collects the data, it helps the government to understand the economic problem. Second, next example which I can give you is study on poverty. Number of people suffering from poverty. Now, you can find the reports in newspaper and magazines that in certain years, this particular state is experienced with higher rate of poverty. How that kind of a statement you can read? It is just because of the data collected by the statisticians and economists. So, by collecting the data from that particular state, we will be able to know how many people are poor in that particular state. And by collecting the number of the people, collecting the data regarding the number of people who are poor in India, we will be able to know how much percentage of the people in India are poor. This is only possible with the help of collecting the data. So, statistical data is a very indispensable tool for understanding the economic problem. Only when the government understands the economic problem, government can find a solution for it, because every problem needs a solution and there is no problem without a solution. So, government to remove the poverty, or government to improve the skilled laborers, or government to improve the performance of industrial sector, government should understand what is the economic problem. That is possible only through the collection of statistical data. So, I hope the first point is clear to you. Now we will move on to the second one, importance of statistics in economics. It enables the economist to present the economic facts in a precise and definite form. It explains the economic facts in a precise and definite form. For example, 310 people died in an earthquake is more precise than so many people died in an earthquake. We will not be able to know if so many people died in an earthquake, what kind of a figure you can guess. If it is given as 310 people, it is very precise and definite. Now, another example, the present situation where the world is experienced with COVID-19. Every day during the press conference, you can find the Chief Minister giving the number of people who are affected by COVID-19. Therefore, we will be able to know how many people are suffering from COVID-19 in Kerala, and each district wise the numbers are given. And you know how many people died in Italy due to the COVID-19, how many people died in China due to COVID-19. So all these are due to the statistical data, we are able to know the correct figure. Therefore, statistical tool or statistical data helps us to present the economic facts in a precise and definite form. Now, the next one is statistical data or statistics helps in condensing the mass data into a few numerical figures. Such a very big data can be condensed into a small figure. That is the feature of statistics. Now, you might have learned the statistical measure mean in class 10. Just remember that. What do you find in mean? You find averages, isn't it? Now, for example, if a teacher is handling 4 classes, her subject is economics and she is handling 4 classes, 11A, B, C and D. So, how many classes are there for the teacher? 11A, 11B, 11C and 11D. Now, if an authority is asking the teacher, if the school authority is asking the teacher which class is performing well for economics, the teacher should give an answer, isn't it? Now, imagine there are 40 students in each of these classes. So, how many students are there altogether? That is 160 students are there in altogether. Now, it is very difficult for a teacher to remember the marks individually for all these classes because there are 40 students in a class. So, it is very difficult for a teacher to remember how many students got how many marks. So, teacher will not be able to answer all on a sudden which class performs the best. So, for that, statistical tool helps us a lot. We can find out the average. How the teacher find the average? Teacher will add the marks of all the students in 11A and teacher will divide it by the number of students in class 11A. How many are the number of students? 40 students. So, when the marks of all the 40 students are divided by the number of students, teacher will get an average. So, for 11A teacher will get an average. Then likewise for 11B teacher will get an average. For 11C also teacher will get a figure and 11D also teacher will get a figure. Now the teacher will compare which one is better. So, such a huge data, the marks of 160 students and the marks of the students of each and every class is thus summarized into small figures. That is where statistics helps us. So, statistic always helps us to condense the mass data into a few numerical measures. Example, mean. So, here the teacher can confidently say that 11C is the best performers. So, 11C is performing well in economics by finding the average. But teacher will not be able to say how many has secured 40 out of 50 or 30 out of 50. That is not possible. But still, teacher can give an opinion that which class is performing the best by finding the average. So, lot of confusion can be avoided in that stage. Now, here also I have written an example. Marks of 5 students in statistics, 30, 35, 40, 45 and 20. It is difficult for the teacher. Now, only 5 students are here, teacher can very well remember the marks. But just imagine if the figure is such a very big figure like this. Here also teacher can find out the average by adding the marks of all the 5 students divided by the number of students. Teacher will get an average of 34. Since it is only a matter of 5 students, it is easy for a teacher to remember all the 5 marks. But in case of a situation where there are large number of students, it will be difficult for a teacher to give an opinion about which class is performing the best. In that case, the statistical tool of mean helps a teacher a lot. So, statistical data helps to condense a mass data into a numerical figure, small numerical figures. Now, next is statistics helps in finding the relationship between various economic factors. Economic factors are related to each other. To know how one economic factor is related to other, statistics helps us a lot. Let us see the examples. Example 1, how do unemployment results in poverty? Now, if a particular state is affected by poverty, government is trying to find out the reason for poverty. So, for that, with the help of economists and statisticians, government is trying to collect the data. When they collected the data, they could find that unemployment is the main reason for poverty. Disguised unemployment, different types of unemployment you have learned in class 10. So, after collecting the data, government understood that unemployment is one among the reason for poverty. So, we can just examine how this unemployment has created the poverty. So, government understood that a kind of unemployment is existing in the economy and how this unemployment is leading to poverty. If that is a situation, it helps the government to take measure to recover or remove that particular problem. So, relationship between 2 factors. Which are the 2 factors here? Unemployment and poverty. Now, next example that I can give you is how do the rise in the price of a product affects the demand for a product? I am a consumer. I have a habit of buying the things from the market. If the price is very high, how will I respond? I will buy only less. So, my demand will be less when the price is more. Price is one economic factor, demand is another economic factor. So, I have demanded less because the price has increased. So, price is one economic factor, demand is another economic factor. So, relationship between 2 factors. What is the relationship between 2 factors here? Demand has decreased due to an increase in the price. So, relationship between 2 economic factors can be learned with the help of statistical tool. Example, when the price was 4, my demand was 10 kilogram. But when the price has increased to 8 rupees, my demand has decreased to 2 kilogram. See my response. When the price was 4, I demanded 10. But when the price is 8, I demanded only 2. My response is recorded. Data collection, quantitative data collection. So, with this, relationship between 2 economic factors can be learned. Another example which I can give you is whether the consumption has increased due to an increase in the average income of the people. I am a person who is earning income. My income in a week, I am receiving the income weekly. Okay. Now, if my income for the past week is 2000, if I am receiving an income of 3000 this week, my consumption pattern will change definitely. Isn't it? So much of goods, so many goods which I have sacrificed in the last week, I will be buying this week. So, my consumption pattern will definitely increase when my income also increases. So, I will be trying to buy more amount of or more quantity of rice than before. So, quantitative data can be collected. So, relationship between 2 economic factors can be learned with the help of statistics. So, statistics helps in finding the relationship between the various economic factors. Now, next one. Statistical data helps the economist to predict the changes in one economic factor due to a change in another economic factor. If one economic factor is changed, how do it affects another economic factor? Just as I told you now, when the price is increased, how the demand is changing. When price is increased, demand will decrease. Likewise, when one factor is changing, how it will affect the other factor. That is what the statistical data helps us to study. Here I can give an example for you. Impact of today's investment on countries. Impact of today's investment on country's national income in the coming year. If we are investing more at present, we can experience more amount of national income for our country in the coming years. So one factor, it is possible to predict the effect of one factor over the other. If we are investing more in the economy, we will be able to earn more national income in the coming years. Likewise, impact of poverty alleviation program. You have learned about so many poverty alleviation programs in class 10 like NREGA, isn't it? So, impact of the poverty alleviation program on the people in the year 2019. Poverty alleviation program was taken by the government in the year 2018. I have just given the year for you as an example. Its impact in 2019 due to the alleviation program, whether the living standard of the people has increased, whether the poverty, number of people affected by poverty has decreased. Government can conduct a survey or collect statistical data with the help of economists and statisticians, and this government can make a study on it regarding the effectiveness of poverty alleviation program, because government has initiated that poverty alleviation program in the year 2018. After implementing that poverty alleviation program, whether the condition of the people there has improved or whether the number of poverty has reduced, government can collect data on that, and government can see whether there is any improvement on the poverty alleviation program. Therefore, statistical data helps to predict the changes in the economic factor due to change in another factor. Government can predict whether this alleviation program of 18 can make changes in 2019, and government can realize it also by collecting the data. Now, statistical data helps in the formulation of plans and policies. Statistical data always helps in the formulation of plans and policies. If we have statistical data, we can formulate our plans and policies. Government can easily formulate the plans and policies. The best example which I can give you is, government has to plan in 2020 regarding how much production has to be increased in 2021. How much production has to be increased in food grains, increase in food grains in 2021 based on the statistical data collected on consumption pattern of people and increase in the population. Government has to plan for each year how much amount of food grain has to be produced in the year, in the coming years. Coming year is 2021. Government will have to plan how much production of food grains has to happen in 2021. So government will decide that on the basis of the production that is happening in 2020. Government will make a study on the consumption pattern of people in 2020. Government will make a study on increase in the population in 2020. Only on that basis, government will be able to produce the food grains. Government will be able to decide how much of food grains has to be produced in the year 2021. Statistical data is a must for that. Government should make a study what is the possible increase in the population, what is the pattern of increase in population, what is the pattern of consumption of the people, whether wheat has to be produced more, whether rice has to be produced more, how much quantity of food grains has to be produced, whether the consumption pattern of people is less or more when compared to the past years. Based on that study, government has to think about the production process in the coming year 2021. So statistical data has to be collected regarding the consumption pattern of the people, population of our country. With regard to that, government has to plan how much government has to produce in the year 2021. So statistical data always helps in the formulation of plans and policies. Now we'll come on to the next point. Statistical tool plays a vital role in the decision making process. Government to take certain decisions on certain matters, statistical data is a must. The best example which I can give you is present time of rising global oil prices. Oil prices are increasing. Present time of rising global oil prices is necessary to decide how much oil should be imported in the coming years. So the oil prices are very high. Based on that, government can decide how much quantity of oil has to be imported in the coming years. Without analyzing the quantity and without studying the statistical data, if the government is trying to import more and more of oil from the Gulf countries or other countries, what will be the situation? Our money is losing out because we need to pay for the import of oil from other countries. So government has to decide how much has to be imported based on the rise and ups and downs of the oil prices. Data need to be collected on the actual requirement of oil in various segments. So for that, how much oil has to be imported, that is a decision that government has to make, isn't it? Therefore, what the government has to do, government has to make a study by collecting the data on the requirement of oil in various segments. Oil is used in various segments. So government has to collect data regarding the need of our country where oil is used in various segments. On the basis of that, the government has to decide how much has to be imported from other countries. So statistics helps to take decisions regarding certain matters. So those decisions are very crucial. Otherwise, what will happen? Money will be lost. There will be outflow of our money to other countries. So we can thus summarize the importance of statistics once again. Statistics is indispensable tool for economics to understand the economic problem. It enables the economist to present the economic fact in a precise and definite form. It helps in condensing the mass data in a few numerical measures by using the mean, median, mode, etc. Statistics helps in finding the relationship between various economic factors. Statistical data helps the economist to predict the changes in one factor due to change in another factor. Then statistical data helps in the formulation of plans and policies. And finally, statistics plays a very important role in the decision making process. With this, we have come to an end of this chapter. You have to work out the exercise given in chapter 1. Thank you.